Welcome audiences to Chung University Laboratory High School debate. Our debate will run for approximately 30 minutes and will be held in accordance with the global debate format outlined by the United Nations. On this occasion, we're gathered to argue the motion, developed countries have a higher obligation to combat climate change.
Are more responsible for the amount of world CO2. Although China has scored the second place in the output of CO2, the amount of CO2 released per capita is 1/5. As reported on the Wall Street Journal, alternative energy is being studied and experimented, and soon enough it will be provided more efficiently and cheaper to the public compared to the rising cost of fossil fuels. Most importantly, they're eco-friendly, which means it will slow down the emission rate of CO2 and slowly
Brazil, China,
reverse.
and India are responsible for rapidly increasing rate of carbon dioxide level. In 2006, China's CO2 emissions surpassed those of the US by 8%. In 2007, according to the Carbon Dioxide Information Analysis Center, China was known as the world's highest fires and births, do 23 times more damage to our environment than car pollution since they contain methane gas. Given this fact, however, Brazil and India, to the second point, investment in combating climate change by the developed countries come at the price of better healthcare, education, and global economy, housing, and other.
Okay, I have two questions for you. First, you said that Brazil has the highest number of cattle in the world. But did you know that 60% of these cattle for mans and rainforests are for fast food?
Brazil and China are almost the only developing countries that affect the climate change in a large scale. How about other countries such as Siberia or maybe Serbia and the Dominican Republic? Do other third world nations contribute to climate change? Just because of China and India, the same amount of burden cannot be held against those. Another thing I want to refute on, based on the second argument, is that economy can't always be the first priority. If the economy is always a priority over the environment, what will happen when our planet is no longer a fit place to live?
However, I would say that evidence is totally wrong, because it's hard to conclude that U.S. has a great responsibility for climate change by stating with the evidence of global brands. Moreover, in fact, the evidence is only limited to food fields. In addition, there are many unfamiliar brands in other fields which affects to saying that world leaders are not doing enough is...
You said that the United States is not signing the Kyoto Protocol for economic reasons. However, this leads back to my second argument, second rebuttal, that developed countries can't focus solely on their economic issues. So don't you think that sooner or later, don't they have to face the issue on climate change?
But from now on, it's not true. In fact, it's based on around the countries. So I don't think your arguments is...
Is it not evidence enough for you that the temperatures
was that people agree that world leaders are not doing enough? And we would like to highlight that more developed countries are working hard to develop alternative powers.
It is true that countries like Congo, Ethiopia, and Tanzania do not contribute to global warming as much as other developed nations such as Japan, Germany, and France. However, greater resources of developed countries do not obligate them to take more obligation. Developed countries do not have a greater responsibility to combat global warming as a result of them having more resources.
Also, you said that developing countries should combat climate change, but what are they going to combat climate change with? Do they have the necessary...
You can guarantee that those countries could at least try to combat to climate change.
Corporations and firms are from developed nations, not just for them to fight climate change, because they have the technology and the funding for technological advancement, research, and more...
I disagree with the opinion that developed countries have a higher obligation to combat climate change than developing countries, because first of all, climate change is a global issue in which each nation, disregarding how rich a country is, must be blamed equally and contribute even in our final focus.